Hi Goblins, today we're gonna watch 1 hour of N64 game facts together, see if we learn something about it. It's funny it's Diddy Kong Racing as the game, because I got my 64 way late, like it was out, and it came with Diddy Kong Racing instead of a cool game. Alright, let's see.
The gaming market's transition into 3D was not an immediate steady success. There were rough patches along the way, in part due to a lack of defined industry standards for 3D game design. But these lack of standards also burst.
Let's see if I can get higher settings. Sorry about that. Much better. I don't know this game. What do we have here? Dragon Quest, Bomberman, Super Mario. This is from the SNES, Ninja Gaiden, Game Boy, Pokemon, Batman, but I don't know which game. Link, first one. Rings a bell, but I'm not sure. Maybe that's Altered Beasts. Mickey, Mega Man. I want to say Icarus. I'm not sure. Pikachu, Pokemon Yellow, I guess, on the Game Boy Color. Contra, Ghouls and Ghosts. I've never really enjoyed it because I don't like dying in one shot. Black Mage, Final Fantasy, Sonic, our boy, and Samus. Alright, sorry. Go off.
A huge wave of fresh and creative games that defined the second half of the 90s gaming space. The N64 was Nintendo's big push into this space, and although it hugely underperformed compared
GoldenEye
to Sony's PlayStation, it was by no means a complete failure. This
Wave Race. I want to go back to the James Bond, because if you know, you know, man. Like, I'm talking to the people who are younger or people who just want to reminisce, but everyone was playing that James Bond game.
console, with its odd-looking controller and minimal third-party support,
Octopus controller.
managed to squeeze out some defining classics and hidden gems. And after all, it's the games that make a system good or not. Games like The Legend of Zelda,
Fucking amazing.
Ocarina of Time, spin-offs like Pokemon Snap, and even third-party titles like DMA Design's Body Harvest are all remembered fondly.
Body Harvest. Never heard about that.
And we'll be talking about these games and a few more in this episode. Let's kick off with Diddy Kong Racing. For a spin-off game in the Donkey Kong series, Diddy Kong Racing was a surprisingly well-made competitive racer. But in retrospect, one element of the game seems a bit odd. What makes the game seem somewhat unusual is its roster of characters. Diddy, Banjo, Conker, and even Crunch was a nod to the Donkey Kong Country titles. But the rest of the characters that fleshed out the roster were, well, yeah.
I don't remember playing this game, even if it was the game that came with my 64. I don't remember. I don't know if there was a second one. I don't remember anything about it. Now I'm trying to remember. I enjoyed when you're flying with the plane, but I mean, you had Mario Kart 64. What would you play Diddy Kong Racing?
One of these characters is the fairly forgettable Bumper the Badger.
My name's Bumper!
Not much information surrounds Bumper in the game itself, with his character bio being fairly sparse. Reading, unlike most of his kind, Bumper the Badger prefers speed and thrills to a quiet nocturnal lifestyle. He gets even more worked up than his friends when he realizes how much racing and excitement will be involved in the crusade to get rid of Whizpig.
Whizpig. I forgot to say, we're not going to watch the whole hour today. I'm just learning about transformative media, and I just want to watch shit with you guys and have fun. So I'm probably going to cut it at 10, 15, 20 minute mark and divide it that way. Ain't nobody got time for that.
A 2004 public address by Rare was written in character from Conker to promote the release of Conker Live and Reloaded. In this address, Conker makes mention of where characters wound up after the events of Diddy Kong Racing, stating, "It goes without saying that you wouldn't catch me hanging out with any of those freaks these days." Last I heard, at least one of them was in jail anyway. While Conker never mentioned who this character might be, in response to a fan letter in
The back of the car looks angry. Why?
2012, Rare revealed some more information about what happened to Bumper, and it seems Bumper's thrill-seeking attitude may have been seduced by the cheap thrills of crime. Rare responded to a question from Aaron Pinky H, who asked, "Where do your beloved characters like Cameo and Banjo go when not used in any games for the next decade? Is there some kind of nightclub, or perhaps a prison cell? Or are they dead?" Their response was that all these characters are having adventures far too expensive to adapt into games, with the exception of Bumper the Badger, who is in jail. With that said, Rare did send out a tweet in 2021 stating that Bumper has actually been free for a while now, or at least on parole, and that he is superficially...
This is in 2021, like 20 years later, more than that, I guess. Replying to SM Wiki official.
Sorry for all the bad things he did. What Bumper did to find himself behind bars remains a mystery, but based on those cold dead eyes, we can only assume the worst. Speaking of causing mischief, Mischief Makers was a much beloved title on the Nintendo 64.
Okay, nice segue here. Just want to say, we have learned something already. Well, I don't know for you guys, but I have. I'm gonna put my face a bit higher here, so you can see the time mark if you want to rewatch it.
While there's a number of games which are known to let players input their age, such as with Dead or Alive most famously, where doing so will adjust the game's jiggle physics, Mischief Makers actually had the option, but having it serve an entirely different purpose. When first starting up the game, it will ask the player for an age between 0 and 99. Most might assume that this age choice is simply referring to the player's age, but it actually uses this input to select the age of the main protagonist, Marina Lightyears. The purpose of this choice isn't very clear during the bulk of the game, but it does have a single effect on one frame.
Jeez, that's fucking hard to watch. There's a lot of colors.
Of the game's true ending. If the player sets Marina's age to 15 years or younger, her true human form will be physically closer to that of a child, while if her age is set to 16 years or older, her true human form will be closer to that of an adult. It's unclear why the developers would put effort into a feature that only affects a single frame of the game, but there you go. Another cult title was Body Harvest, which came from the team at Rockstar before the team at Rockstar would become known as the team at Rockstar. Everyone over at the then-named DMA Design were super enthusiastic about the N64, and most of all, working with Nintendo. The studio's previous publisher, Psygnosis, didn't show much interest in DMA's games, but Nintendo frequently directed them to make major changes to Body Harvest's gameplay and visual style in order to improve its chances on the market. While everyone had a huge amount of respect for each other and wanted an open conversation about how to improve the game, the language barrier between the Japanese publisher and British developer made implementing these changes difficult, as the devs sometimes struggled to understand what Nintendo wanted from them.
As someone who has been working as an English teacher in Southeast Asia, I can completely understand the wall that you face when there's difficulty in just talking. Or not even as an English teacher, just I speak English and French, and I live in Southeast Asia. I don't speak the local language very well, just enough to, like, you know, order food, go around, ask what time it is, that kind of basic stuff. And man, so imagine designing a video game where you don't understand each other. A Nintendo and Body Harvest, that sounds weird choice for a Nintendo.
One developer cited an example where Nintendo told DMA to make the game's graphics more materialistic. DMA's head, David Jones, described their relationship with Nintendo, saying, "It's a very hard relationship because their quality is so high that it's so hard to match the quality of the products they do."
Nintendo seal of quality, right? You guys remember this? I'm working on a video called Why I Will Never Buy Nintendo Consoles Again, and I want to talk about that, the quality of their products and what it is now.
And they really want you to focus on making Nintendo products. It's very hard to write games that you're not writing for yourself, which is traditionally what I've done. And basically, we just have to listen to them because we're not as good as they are. Nobody in the world is as good as they are. So we'd be daft to try and say, we think you're wrong. So we just have to work with them and we implement everything that they ask for.
Maybe a little nice learning experience. Maybe your career is gonna benefit from it. Maybe I should turn on the light because I look like I'm sitting in the darkness. Is that better? I don't know, you guys tell me, I don't fucking...
The two companies would ultimately drift apart, and DMA became Rockstar North.
That icon...
Companies would ultimately drift apart, and DMA...
That rings a bell. But that looks like something you would see on like a Scholastic sales book, like a book editor, not like video games.
Became Rockstar North, part of the Rockstar Games label. One more highly respected N64 title not made by Nintendo themselves came from Rare.
I've never played this, but one of my buddies who's the most hardcore gamer I know, like hardcore casual because he doesn't stream or live off of gaming, but just consumes and adores video games. He fucking loves that game.
Blast Core. It wasn't just things like camera controls that became an issue with the budding 3D developers when producing games for this new console. When developing Blast Core, the team worked hard to make sure the game didn't face
fucking making donuts with an 18-wheeler.
Any performance issues as a result of topping out the Nintendo 64's graphical capabilities. So they chose to set a polygon limit for character models in the game. This limit helped to ensure that gameplay remained smooth. However, while creating the Thunder Fist Robots model, Rare managed to accidentally go over their self-imposed limit. As a means of trying to reduce the amount of polygons the robot would use, the devs simply removed one of the robot's arms, resulting in the character's design changing into something a bit more unique. Few other
Oh, look at that booty! Polygons, baby!
Devs have realized that an easy way to reduce the polygon count is simply by maiming their characters.
There's no butt, there's just no hips.
Pokemon Snap is arguably one of the franchise's most popular spin-off titles, taking away the typical enslavement and battle mechanics of Pokemon, and instead putting the player behind a lens. While the player might not take on an active role of pummeling Pokemon, or rather commanding other Pokemon to do so, they're given a variety of tools which can either elevate the creature's mood, or frankly, piss them off.
My father's a really open-minded guy, and he couldn't play those 3D games because it gave him vertigo. Same as I cannot play most of the VR stuff if it moves around too much because I'll puke. But I don't remember if we rented or bought this game. Probably bought. I remember we were sitting on the couch between my brother and I. We were sitting on the floor playing, and we get in the cart, just taking pictures of the Pokemon. And he was like, "Wait, like you don't decide where you go. You just sit and take pictures." And we're like, "Yep." And it was just like, Pokemon Snap. Okay.
It's your mission to take great photos, but in doing so, Nintendo gave the player an option of throwing a pester ball at Pokemon to spur on some more irritated expressions or behaviors.
I don't remember that.
While this is of course a work of fiction, the idea of hurling noxious purple gas with the sole intent of pestering the creatures whilst they enjoy their natural habitat does seem a little unusual for the Pokemon series. As a result, when it came time for the game's sequel, these balls were removed, as well as the
neutered. I haven't played the newest one. Looks cool though.
Apple, which was replaced with a fluff fruit. New Pokemon Snap's director, Haruki Suzaki, stated, "The Pester Ball was an important element to bring out Pokemon's reaction in the Nintendo 64 Pokemon Snap, so we decided to add the role of the Pester Ball to the fluff fruit in new Pokemon Snap. Even though fluff fruit doesn't hurt when it hits a Pokemon, it makes sense that some Pokemon don't like being hit by fluff fruit, so we designed the item to leave it up to players whether they place it near a Pokemon or throw it at a Pokemon. So it seems developers were still all for pissing Pokemon off a bit, but they prefer being a bit more tactful about it. As we mentioned at the start of this video, the N64 was a new adventure for Nintendo, and having to start developing games in 3D was no small task. Plenty of new complications come along with the addition of a third dimension.
Oh my god. This game. Spent so much time playing this game. I finished high school classes at 2:30 p.m. So if I didn't skateboard and like just hung out with my friends and did illegal stuff, I would just fucking, when I had a new game, I'd just rush home so I could play before my brother got home. Well, he was my younger brother, so I was kind of a dick, and I would just keep playing if I wanted to. But yeah, that was a reason to go home early. This game.
And so it was important during development to have a greater understanding of what mistakes had been made. What's interesting, however, is that a debugging tool, which shows more information on why a game has crashed or encountered an error, is actually still present in the final retail copy of Zelda. After the game crashes for whatever reason, inputting a series of button combinations will result in information being thrown up on screen about the game and the environment that was present at the time of crashing. An odd curiosity can be seen from Ocarina's debug menu, however, where the game's version information doesn't simply contain the version information, but also an additional message of seemingly no purpose.
I don't know if this was made in Japan, but in Asia they just throw "I love you" just randomly, especially East Asia, Southeast Asia. I remember I was in China and I was looking for shoes to go trekking. I walk in this shoe store, which is like knockoffs of knockoff shoes. So I'm like, all right, that's in my budget. The staff there, I walk in and he's like, I'm like, all right, yeah, thumbs up. And he's pointing at his thumb, and I look, and he had "I love you" tattooed up the thumb, like really, like just fucking kitchen tattoo. And here he had like just a bunch of hearts. So whenever I see "I love you," oh, it just brings good memories.
I love you. I mean, we aren't complaining about being told that at least something in the
My wife hear that?
world loves us, but we didn't exactly think it would be a copy of Ocarina of Time that'd show us more love than our parents did.
Whoa.
Today we're taking...
Wow, can we hear that again?
That at least something in the world loves us, but we didn't exactly think it would be a copy of Ocarina of Time that'd show us more love than our parents did.
God damn. I love this guy. That's pretty good so far. We're gonna stop it here. I don't want to make it too long. If you guys enjoyed the video, you want to give him a view, DYKG clips, subscribe. 182k subscribers. Maybe he doesn't need me to give him a shout out, but I mean, I'm watching his hard work, so fucking we're gonna keep watching this later. Finished at the 9 and 18-minute video. Thank you guys for watching. I don't want your constructive criticism, and see you next time.